1943, I went 43 in August. I went into Mohaj. I was there. We was working there on boats. We was loading coal. But a month I was working in the kitchen also there, as a cook. And then after 3 months we was there. Then but 30 people. They take out 30 people in the whole group, and they send us to another outfit. And in this outfit we went to slowly. We was working all the way on the way. We went to Poland, to Galicia, and there we was working. We was always working just with the Hungarians, and we never was with the Germans. And there we was working on the forest. We was building bunkers. I don't know what they calling it. Bunkers. And there we was working, all around. We didn't went too far in. We was too late already. No. No, I'm not holding.
You were. It's only going when it's moving.
When we came back to the Czech border again, there already was everybody was running around. Was no organization there. Well, the Hungarians was waiting for us, and they was putting us to another group. And there we was working in a bakery for a few weeks, and we had to run again. So then they put us in a group. We was working all the way around, wherever we went, and so we went. In Slovakia, we went in a town in Slovakia. We saw that they're taking us to Germany. We heard that they're taking us to Germany. So we decided that we're not going to go farther. So we went the last night when we knew that we're going to go farther. So we stayed in this town, and in the morning when we saw this, the whole group went away. So then we went to look up, to ask questions over there in Slovakia where we could stay until the Russians are coming. So they sent us. They didn't want to talk to us. They know, the Slovakians. They know the Jews. It was no military there anymore. Well, the Germans, the Hungarians ran away, and was already the Russians are. They was changing. This town was changing hand a few times. So when we escaped, so they told us we slept over. They give us a night to sleep over. One Slovak, and they told us we should go in the forest. In there, somebody gonna come and they're gonna talk to us, and they're gonna bring us food. We was lucky that we went into this family who had knowledge from the partisans. And when we went in the forest this night, so the Germans came back again. While but I told before they was changing over. There was a big fight over there, over this town. So in this place, we was over there in the forest, and it was there two days, and nobody came. So one of the boys went in to this family, and he asked them they should give us some food, something. So when somebody sent away to the one partisan, and he came, and he talked to us and give us food, and he says we should go just back until everything is going to be clear. So we went back in the forest. We built out for ourselves. It was winter already. I remember it was snow. We built for ourselves a bunker, and we was living there. And the Germans was holding there about 2 weeks. And for 2 weeks we was living in the forest. And every night another boy went in for food in town. There was we had to go about 5 miles in the town for food. And then when the Russians was already there, then the partisans came to us and they says everything is all right, you can come out now. So we came out, and the Russians give us permission we should go home. So until we went over there home, it was a long story, you know, how the Russians themselves, on the way, wherever we went, they catched us for work, and just we was very lucky that they didn't take us, the Russians themselves, they didn't take us to Russia. Well, they catched anybody on the streets, whoever went, they catched us in there was missing some worker, they catched anybody on the street, and they took to work. So I don't know, they gave us, we find one officer was a Jewish, a Russian officer, and he gave us some legitimation, in wherever we went in every town, they asked us where we're going, and we showed them this paper, and they let us go. And we had to go very far, we was far away from home, so in one town we was waiting for the train, but 2 days, until a Russian train went to the other direction where we had to go home, and it was a military train with wounded soldiers. So in this train we went at about 20 miles from our home. And from there, when the train stopped, from there we walked home, and finally we came home, I think so, it was in 1944 in December, end of the year. I remember it was end of the year, and when I came home, we saw nobody is home. We saw what happened and everything, so I couldn't stay. I didn't have nobody. I couldn't stay there. So I heard that in Romania they're helping the refugees. Some organization they joined. So we went over there to Romania, and I was in Romania. I got some help there, and in Romania I find out some of my family. My brother came home. He came home. He was in Budapest, so I left Romania and went to Budapest. And I find there my brother, and there I was a few months. I met there my wife, and from there we went to Czechoslovakia. In Czechoslovakia I was living for 3 years, and from there we went to Israel.
Question number 6, Hungarian forced labor. How old were you when you were drafted to the labor force?
When I was drafted to the labor force, I was
22, 21?
About 1943 is 21.
What year were you drafted?
1943.
Did you know that you were going to serve as forced labor,
Yes.
but you were not in the Hungarian army?
No.
Describe the unit in which you served. How many Jews were there?
Most of them Jews, all Jews.
How many do you think?
Oh, we was in one group, in our group, there was it's about 200.
Who were the officers in charge?
The officers in charge was the Hungarian officers. Well, I don't remember. I remember one officer, a Lieutenant Kessler.
They were not Jewish.
No, he was a Schwab. He was half German, half Hungarian.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember any of the others?
And I remember Sergeant. I don't remember the names.
There were no non-Jews among the forced labor soldiers?
No.
What was the attitude of the officers towards the Jews? Relate cases showing up positive or negative or indifferent attitudes.
Oh, it was negative. It was very bad to us,
Do you remember any stories?
Stories, it was every day some different stories. So, there was, we had, if somebody didn't sing loud when we was going to work, we went to work every day and had to sing. And if somebody didn't sing just loud, they was beating us with a rifle. Or somebody didn't make, we was carrying over there, we was working on the boat, coal, and everybody had to do a certain amount. If it didn't do in time, so they was beating us there. And the food was very bad.
Were you sent to Russia?
No, I was not sent to Russia. I was already late when I was there already. I was not in Russia.
You were sent to Slovakia?
No, Slovakia I was already when we came back. When we came back, then we went through Slovakia.
Where exactly did you work during the whole time?
The first we was working about 3 months in Mohács, and then when we went to Slovakia. Then we had to go to Uzsok. And from there we went from one town to the other. We was always on the highway. We was building the highways, the highways. So we finished one place, so we went to another place. And then when we finished this work, so we went on the forest and was carrying cutting the trees and carrying the big trees with building material. We was building with this. In the mines, we went down deep and was working with explosion. They give us a small wire like this, and we had to put in the dynamite. And sometimes few people couldn't come out in time and exploded there with the dynamite.
Were you on the front at all?
Just in the last few weeks, when I was in the last few weeks, before we escaped.
Can you tell us about what happened while you were on the front?
I cannot tell too much. Well, there was then we was not working. When we was in the front, we wasn't doing anything. Just they wanted to take us much faster to Germany, and they couldn't go so fast. So we knew already what's coming. So a few of us escaped. Well, I cannot tell you nothing about the front, what was going on there.
Did you meet any local people from the local towns?
Yes.
What happened when you met the local Jews?
No, there was no local Jews there. No more Jews.
There were no more Jews?
No more Jews, no.
Did you meet German soldiers?
Oh yeah, we met German soldiers.
What happened?
Oh, the German soldiers treat us very good. They give us even more food than the Hungarians.
Did you meet local non-Jews?
Yes.
How did they act towards you?
Oh, some of them positive, some no. You can tell, in Galicia they was very negative. Or when he came in Slovakia, in some towns, they was afraid to treat us well. There was there the Hungarian. In some of them, they was themselves very negative to us. I remember one things when we went in a small town. This was still in Czechoslovakia. The Jews were still there. There was the ghetto. They was still in ghetto. We was working there, and the local population, they was waiting for them. The minute they took them away, they all went in the houses and they cleaned out the Jewish houses, the population themselves. Well, they closed us in. When they took away the Jews, that's the only place where we found, where I was still the local Jews there. Then they closed us. They not allowed us to go out on the street. This was in a small town I don't remember names. This was in a small town. We was working there in Slovakia.
Did you meet any Russian prisoners of war?
Yes.
How did they act towards you?
We had no contact with them. We just saw them. They was working also just the same thing like we was working. Mm-hmm. There's no contact with them.
You couldn't talk to them?
No.
How high was the death rate among the men?
Oh, in our group, but one thing I remember, in our group was not too much. We was all younger boys. We was all young, and it was all. We could take it all the work. Most of us was not, but the work was hard. It was very cold. And we didn't have no clothes. That was even worse than the work. So I can remember just 2 or 3 people who died on our group. But what I can remember. Just I remember when we came back, and we stopped in one town when I said we was working. This was in Berezna, in Czechoslovakia, also in the border. We came back in Slovakia. We came back, and the Hungarians there, the bakers who was there before, they didn't like something. The soldiers was drunk or something, and they took all the 6 bakers to the forest and killed them all. And that's why they was looking for other bakers. And I knew already, I was not a baker yet, but I knew already I was working in a bakery. So I knew, I says I'm a baker, and I took in the 2 of my friends. We was always together, And we went over there in the bakery, and I was working about 2 weeks. And then the Russian came, and we had to go farther. This what I remember. Well, I cannot say there was too many.
Did you see anything of the destruction of Jewish communities?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
What can you tell us about it?
Oh yeah. All towns where we went through, the synagogues was all they made from them warehouses. If where they stand yet, most of them was warehouses. In one place I remember there was even everything was around. Everything was all the synagogues wherever we went.
And what did they do? What about the people in the towns, the Jews?
Oh, there was no Jews there anymore.
They had already been destroyed?
Yeah, there was no Jews already there.
Were they doing anything else besides destroying the synagogues?
I cannot tell you what they did when the Jews was there. When we came there, was already destroyed the synagogues. In all apartment or houses where Jews was living, they was all emptied out and everything cleaned out. That's what I remember. I don't remember nothing.
Were you captured by the Russians?
Yes, captured. We went. We was voluntarily we went to the Russians. Yeah, the Russians liberated us. God say, yeah.
In what place?
In Slovakia, in Shahi.
Do you know the date?
The date was
more or less
in 1944 in November something.
The same thing that happened to you happened to the people that were with you?
Not all of them. The rest of them, they went all farther. Whoever went, they went all to Germany. And the rest of them, in this group, what I was not the original group where it was a different group. When we came back in Russia, in Poland, then it was the group was already didn't existed already. So they put us in another group, different boys. So
what happened to them?
They all went to Germany. Mm-hmm. Whoever went to Germany, very few came back.
But you were never really a prisoner of the Russians.
No.
When you came back to Hungary at the end, please describe how you left Hungary, the attitudes towards you during the retreat of the Hungarians, and your experiences after you came back.
The attitudes before I left?
The attitude towards you during the retreat of the Hungarians in charge.
Oh, the Hungarian, they treated us very bad. They treated us very bad. I cannot tell something good what they was treating. Who was a charge. They was treating us very bad. Cannot tell nothing else.
How and when were you released from the labor force?
It was escaped.
When?
In 1944. 1944 in October, something, yeah, in October.
1944.
Yeah.
Questionnaire number 3, Resistance B, Forest. How did you get to the forest?
When we escaped, we escaped. It's not what escaped, just we didn't went with the group. Wherever we were sleeping, everybody was sleeping in a different place. So in the morning, we had to go in one place to regroup. So we didn't went over there, and we were staying over there. We were sleeping, we was hiding, until the whole group went away. And we knew that they wouldn't look for us. Well, the Russians was already not far away. They had to run. So we were staying over there. And in the meantime, we had nothing to do with the Germans. This was under Hungarian command. And the Germans was there too. Well, the Germans has nothing to do with us. And the German soldiers stayed there. Well, the Hungarians, with the labor camp, the boys, all had to go away. So we stayed over there one day, and then in the night, we went in another town to look for some hiding place. Well, we knew we wouldn't have to hide too much. Well, we heard already the fighting, the war was there already, the front was there. We heard the shooting. And then we went in the town, and went to one family, to a Slovak Christian, and actually we didn't went in. We went in their property over there, and they find us sleeping outside on the. So we told them where we are and everything, and it says you cannot stay here while the Germans are here. Well, go outside, go to the forest, and we're going to send you somebody who could help you. So we was waiting about 2 days, and nobody came. So one of us went in again, and then we got connection with some partisans who was fighting actually with the Germans, against the Germans. So we had nothing to do with it. We was too weak to fight, and they helped us and told us what to do, and gave us some food also, and told us when we could come out and we could be free. When the Russians was there, it was one Russian Jewish officer, and we was talking to them, and he gave us some documentation, some papers. With this paper, he says we could go home and be free. Well, we never was actually, captured by the Russians. That's what.
The people you were with in the forest, were they all Jewish or not Jewish?
When we was in the forest, there was 3 Jewish people, and over there in the forest we found 2 not Jewish also, but they was separate from us. They was not in our group. There was, I think so, Hungarian soldiers who escaped also, and they was also waiting. They didn't want to go farther, and they also escaped. And there was nothing. There were one time somebody came in the forest. We didn't know. We thought it's Germans, and everybody ran away. And when everybody ran away, since then we didn't saw them. Well, we 3 we was always together, and this was the end of it. But we saw the rest of them. I know one was a gypsy, a Hungarian. He also escaped. He didn't want to go farther with the Germans, and we never saw him again.
Did you join a group in the forest? A regular group with a commander and the fighters?
No.
Did you fight in the forest?
No.
How did you get along with the non-Jews in the forest?
Oh, we got along, but we had a connection with the partisans. We get along with them very fine. They helped us.
Can you tell any stories about how they helped?
Well, I can just so much to tell you that they told us not to come out, to be there until we're going to tell you to come out, and they supplied us with food. The only thing what we can tell you, what I can tell you about them, well, it was not. Didn't have, but they was not actually there. We just came. There was in another place. If he was fighting the partisans, if they was fighting against the Germans or the Hungarians, we don't know about them. Well, we know they was partisans, Slovaks.
What was the relations between the surrounding population and the men you were with, you and the men you were with?
The surroundings, I can tell you the surroundings. We was living in
Were they friendly? Were they, the people in the towns living around, were they friendly?
We didn't have just with one family a connection. We didn't want they should know we there. Just one family knew that we there.
Were there any family groups or individual unarmed Jews hiding in the forest?
Not what we know about them. No. Maybe it was a big forest, not what we know. Maybe it was more hiding there. Well, not what we know about it.
Did the people you were with do anything to bring Jews into the forest?
Actually, these people, maybe they hide more. Well, if they helped us, he says, they said, we helped before you also, some 3 boys. So we didn't met them. Just their family said was a very nice family, Christians, Slovaks, and they says we give already food and we help them. Also, we told them where to go, to which family, and where they could get help.
How and where did you get food?
Every night, another boy went down in the town to this family to food. One Slovak family will give us food.
Did you meet any women partisans?
No.
Did you see any children?
Partisans, no.
Did they have any social activity, like bonfires or stories or songs?
No. Not where we was.
Did you ever take any people prisoners?
No.
When and how were you liberated?
He was liberated when the Russian took this town, that the partisans, but 5 of them, I think so, came in and said that we could go already free, and the Russians liberated us.
Questionnaire number 2 for Camp of Mohaj. What date did you arrive in the camp? About.
What date?
Yeah. 1943?
1943, but
in August?
In August sometimes, I don't remember the date.
From where did you come?
From Budapest.
By what method of transportation?
I went with the boat.
Boat?
Yes.
Did you arrive alone or with members of your family?
I arrived alone.
What happened to the other members of your family?
They was not there. My family was back in my hometown. I was living in Budapest. Mm-hmm. So my family wasn't there.
But what happened to them during the war?
During the war. The family during the war, my 2 sisters was also in Budapest, and they was also in the labor camps.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother was working. He was in Germany, and he was working like a Czech, not like a Jew. On the whole war, he was in Germany all the time.
And your father?
My father went away in ghetto in my hometown, in Berexas. My father.
He survived the war or not?
No. My father didn't survive the war. Over me, all his brothers and sisters survived. Well, you know, my sister, one, they took them also late. Well, they wasn't in the ghettos. Well, they was in Budapest. And whoever was in Budapest, they took him just to most of them to labor camps. It was late, you know. Budapest was. I think so liberated when they took them already away.
Mm. When you came to the camp Mohash 4x4, was there a selection on arrival?
Oh, there was already there more groups.
Mm-hmm.
There was, you know, the whole, you know, the whole command was there in Mohacs, you know. From there they send out the whole groups, you know, to Poland, to all the places, to Russia, even to Russia went away over there.
But they didn't send anybody to be killed?
Not what I know about it. Maybe they might be killed over there, or not what I know about it, not in Mohacs. This was just the regrouping, and they teached us what to do, and not there. In there they send out just the groups to work.
Describe the location and the size of the camp and the guard system, and when was the camp set up?
In Mohacs?
Mm-hmm.
We was living in the town, and we was living in a military camp. Like one group was living in the military camp, and one group was living in the school. In guards, was always by the door guards. You couldn't go out with other guard. Well, there was not so bad. Well, you could go out even. You had 1 hour or 2 hours, you could go in the town. They let you out. Or Sundays, you could go out alone, with other guard.
And what was the size of the camp?
The size of the camp? In different places we was living. One was in a school, like a schoolyard, and one was a factory. I remember it was a leather factory. We was living, you know, they emptied out a factory and we was living there.
And when was the camp Mohacs first set up?
Oh, this was set up, I think so, in 1940. There was always a military base there, a Hungarian military that was there. Well, for the labor camp, they set up I think so, 1940.
Do you know the name of the commander?
Our commander was him I remember. The name was Kessler. He was not a Jew.
Do you remember the names of any of the officers? Or of any of the other men?
One Sergeant Gulyas, I remember Gulyas, Sergeant Gulyas, remember. And I don't remember more names.
What were the commanders and the officers like?
They was very strict. And they treated us very bad, so they know.
Were there any Germans guarding the camp?
No,
There were only Hungarians.
only Hungarians.
How many?
Each group, they had a commander, a sergeant, in but 3 or 4, 3 or 4 soldiers with them, but 5.
To guard over how many men?
To guard over, I think so, about 50.
Do you remember incidents that could be used to accuse individual Nazis as war criminals?
No, I don't know.
How many inmates were there altogether?
About 200, what I know about it,
What
maybe
were-
more.
What were their ages?
We was all in the same age, most of them a year younger, a year older,
They were all men,
all men,
and they were all Jews?
all Jews, yes.
And what towns did they come from?
Most of them Hungarian, Czechoslovakia, the neighborhood from Czechoslovakia,
What did the work consist of?
The work in Mohács consisted on a road. We was working on the roads, and then we was shipping coal. We was working from the boats. We was unloading the coal. It was over there a coal mine, and we was working on the unloading coal.
Did you have capos?
No.
What kind of food did you have?
In Mohács was not too bad, the food. Maybe was not too bad, or was it just the beginning? When we went in, we was not so hungry yet. Was not
What
so
was
bad.
it?
Most of them vegetables, some the dry German. The dry German vegetables, what they used to, most of them, they cook just the vegetables, dry German. I remember we used to call this, we had a name, Zorgemise, we used to call it, always we hated it, we had no other choice.
Describe the daily routine.
The daily routine,
You got up in the morning.
we got up in the morning,
At
but
what time?
at 6 o'clock.
And then what did you do?
6 o'clock, we had to go, we went for breakfast, I think so, about 7 o'clock. No, we left up 6 o'clock. We had to go down, there was a big river, the river was there. We had to go to wash up ourselves in the river. And then we came up, we had breakfast, and we went to work. The work, we had to go to work more than an hour to walk to work. So until we got to work was 8 o'clock. So from 8 o'clock we was working till 12. In 12 o'clock we came back, and we was eating, and then in the afternoon we went back again to work till 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I don't remember already. So when we came back in the night, we had supper, and they let us alone. It was not there was not so bad.
Were there people killed there?
Not what I know about it.
Were there attempts to escape?
Yes. Yes. They was escaping from there. The people who, who lived not far from the place, they wanted to escape. The families were still home then. Was the Hungarian in the neighborhood was still home, and some of them wanted to escape. Well, they always brought them back.
Was there an organized underground?
No.
Was there any planned resistance?
Not there, no.
Was there any contacts with the outside?
Oh, we had contact with the families yet. Well, the families were still home in the first month. We could still write to the families. Some family come even to visit us, some of the families come even to visit us there.
Were there any attempts at cultural activity?
Not organized. Well, some, on our free times, like Sunday was a free day. We could go out in the town and do whatever we want. Some of them went to do whatever they wanted.
Were there any children in the camp?
No.
How did the inmates get along with each other? Were they friendly?
Oh, the inmates was all right, friendly. There was small fights, that's nothing.
Did you receive help from any of the other people? Did you need help? Did you get help from any of the other inmates?
No.
Were you ever sick?
No.
Was there any medical attention?
Yes,
By whom?
but Jewish medics,
Was it official or
official,
what kind of clothing did you wear?
we were our own.
What were the sanitary conditions?
In Mohács, the sanitary condition was not bad, was all right. We had everything all right.
Did you or anyone else receive mail officially?
Yes.
Did you receive packages?
I personally not, or some of them yes.